offseason, the Arkansas Razorbacks added zero, count them up, zero college three-pointers made out of the transfer portal this season. So they're going to be looking for other places to make some three-point magic happen this year. They got one guy who can shoot 35, 36% out of Darius Acuff, but Arkansas's got another guy out here who needs to be hitting some threes for the Razorbacks this season, and that's out of overtime elite in Malik Thomas, the number 13 player nationally, the number 3 shooting guard in this year's freshman class, and the number 2 player out of the state of Georgia. And for Malik Thomas, yes, indeed, he is the number 3 player coming to the SEC in this year's freshman class. Maddie, your thoughts on Malik Thomas?
We go back to probably when we started this podcast, and every year we talk about Arkansas needs a shooter. Arkansas needs a shooter. Arkansas got a shooter, but it'd be nice to have a backup. And then this year we get Darius Acuff, like you mentioned, a great point guard who can shoot the 3 ball. But we've got him side by side with Malik Thomas, who is an absolute beast from 3. And I have a feeling that this is hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on all the wood around me, the unanswered prayer that Arkansas has been waiting for when it comes to the 3-point shooting.
You got to hope this 5-star McDonald's All-American makes a splash, if you will, for the Razorbacks this season. Yeah, that's a big part of it. But there's more to his game than just being a 3-point shooter. He's not just, okay, go put him out there in the corner and let Malik hit these threes. No, there's different parts to his game. He's a much more versatile player than just that. And by the way, I know I said he's the number 2 player out of Georgia. He's actually from Pennsylvania. That's because of the way the rankings tallied up for overtime elite players. And there's also Darius Acuff from IMG Academy. I said he was from Florida in the last episode. He's from a different state, actually. So, these players, a lot of times, depending on where they come from, the rankings have a weird way of doing this. But Malik Thomas, very good shooter. Let's go through the scouting report, and we'll talk about him on this Razorback team for this year. And we'll start with the athletics here. He's a naturally talented and dynamic guard, really. This isn't just Mr. Catch and Shoot out there. He's got a lot of different variations in his game, and he's extremely confident, and he is assertive in the basketball game. Creative, and he's got a polished handle about him, very smooth at times, and he's got a good use of both hands and has a 6'6" wingspan. And he's continuing to add strength. You're going to notice he's got a smaller frame, but it's not small. It just needs a little bit more meat, and he'll look like an NBA player afterwards when he adds some more muscle and gets in the gym and gets on a Duthero protein program is what he needs to get on there, and he'll be he'll be NBA ready built at that point. And he's showing more speed with his ball and his handles, and he's explosive right now at the cup as a player. But Maddie, the thing that everyone has been talking about when it comes to Malik Thomas is his offensive ability, and that way that he has to play. Go ahead, introduce us a little bit to this offensive game.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, this guy is more than just a scorer, but when he's out there, you're going to be able to see that he is a high volume scoring mentality. He's going to try and get the open shot, be able to take those tough shots and be able to make them. He's got versatility when it comes to shooting. He can shoot off the dribble. He's got range, and he can create space for step backs, kind of with those long limbs. And he can make runners in a crowded lane, which is going to be a major step for Coach Cal. He can attack with pace on an open floor, and he's got an advanced finishing package. He goes through spurts of extremely tough shot making, but he can also be inefficient with the tendency to hunt tough shots and plays. He can settle when he shouldn't, but those are all things I think that are going to come with a development style coach like Coach Cal.
Yep. Coaching, fixes those things 100%. So let's dive into that a little bit more. He's also, there's some other things really touch up real fast, and we'll get into the shooting numbers here. He's starting to create offense for others. He needs to learn to slow down just a little bit and pick his spots when it comes to shooting, and that range that he has, it doesn't just go with the 3. He's not sitting there at the line to shoot threes. It extends well beyond the 3-point arch, and he doesn't have to he doesn't have a play that, you can't run for him. He's one of those players that, could do a lot of different things. He can finish at the rim, he can finish in the mid-range, and he can tear it up from 3. He averaged 13.5 points per game and shot 48.9% in Nike EYBL. He was the third best, 22.6 points per games and 47.7% in the NBA Players Association Top 100 competition. And he shot 36.5% on 3.7 3-point attempts per game at the Nike EYBL, and then also 5.8 attempts in NBA Players Association Top 100. And they complements that with a really good passing ability, and he averaged 2.2 assists and 1.2 turnovers per game. So a decent assist to turnover ratio at Nike EYBL. But here's where I really want to get into the shooting ability for Malik Thomas, and that all comes down to the role he's playing on this Razorback team. When you look at the 3-point shooting numbers for Arkansas, so last year and overtime elite, Malik Thomas averaged 38.2% from three last season for overtime elite. On this Arkansas team, look at the top shooters and the ones that they've got on this team. Trevor Brazile, 36.4%, was the best 3-point shooter for the Razorbacks last season. That's coming back to this team. Carter Knox, 35.0. Kareem Rattel, these are international numbers, but he shot 31.4. DJ Wagner was 30.4, and then Billy Richmond was Billy's got to get better at shooting three, folks, but I think that will come with a higher volume in practice, but he shot 12.5%. But as a team last year, Arkansas shot 32.7%. We're expecting Carter Knox to have higher numbers this year based upon like the fact that he shot so much better through February, late January, February, and March last year on this team. He shot 40% at one point last season, with his averages just jumped up significantly. But you need a Malik Thomas to be a player that can raise that 32.7% 3-point shooting on this team. And not only can he be just a good shooter for Arkansas at 38.2%, he can be one of the best in the SEC coming into the season. So with that, let's say that 38.2% hits or goes like 1% lower, which is kind of what happened to Carter Knox. He was a 36% shooter in overtime elite and shot 35% last year. Slow start, but it was overall the numbers started to return to the mean there. For Thomas, let's say he shoots 37% for the Razorbacks or 36%. When you look at the best 3-point shooters in the SEC last year, it's dominated by Kobe Brea. 43.5% from three. Trey Johnson shot 39.7, and then you start seeing those numbers start going down after Chaz Lanier. You had Caleb Grill at 39.6, Chaz Lanier at 39.7, Cam Carter at 39.2. Dropped down Walter Clayton 38.6, and then at number 7 was Josh Hubbard 34.5%. Out of all those players on that list, the only one who's coming back out of the top 7 3-point shooters in the SEC is Josh Hubbard. Like, not only can Malik Thomas be a key shooter and for this Razorback team, he also can be one of the best 3-point shooters in the SEC if those numbers, transition to where they need to be for next season. He could be one of the best in the SEC next year. And I think that's going to be a pivotal place for the success for the Razorbacks next year is if they don't shoot well from three, they're going to look a lot like the Indiana Hoosiers from last season. I really think they have the players to get there and be a somewhat good 3-point shooting team. That's just where the success is going to come from, and you got to have guys like Malik Thomas getting that job done. But let me touch on the defense real fast. Very vocal, aggressive defender, has a real knack for getting his hands on the ball. Excellent rebounder, good on-ball defender, and has natural instincts to attack the passing lanes. Maddie, your thoughts? Anything else? Like as far as Malik Thomas and how he fits with Arkansas?
Yeah, we talked a lot about shooting, but I want to touch on a couple of those defensive points because I think that's really where he's going to stand out on the Hogs. They focus a lot on transition defense and the way that Malik Thomas plays defense. Like you said, he's got a knack for getting his hands on the ball, and he's a good on-ball defender. I think that's going to create a lot of opportunities for us to get in the situation to have transition offense or defense to offense. And I think we're going to see a lot of scoring opportunities in that regard. And I think that's what makes him one of the best fits when it comes to Coach Cal's program.
Yeah, and my next big thing here when we talk about Malik Thomas is really how is it going to fit with DJ Wagner and Darius Acuff. You jump back to that depth chart that we showed everybody in the last episode of the Freshman 15 with Arkansas. DJ Wagner is expected to play some at the number 2 spot. How much he plays the number 2 spot, I don't know, but Malik Thomas is going to go with the number 2 spot at times as well. Like the combination of how he's going to fit into this backcourt is like interesting. I don't know exactly how it's going to work for this team, but you need to get a guy like Malik Thomas on the floor and really get his shooting ability out there for Arkansas to be successful this season. All right, guys, thank you so much for checking out this episode of the Freshman and 15. Really appreciate you guys being here. Arkansas fans, please hang out and continue to watch some of the stuff. Like I said, we have the Freshman 15 episode out on Darius Acuff. And then additionally, we have an episode of The Portal coming out on Malik Ewan. Now, as I mentioned before you know it, we'll be doing season previews and we'll be talking about the year ahead for the Razorbacks. So please like and subscribe and catch you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.